Welcome to Cosmic Comics, Games and Collectibles, your zen of geekism. We carry comics old and new, magazines, toys, games like Pokemon, Magic, D&D. Want Godzilla, Ultraman, Star Trek, Ninja Turtles, Funko Pops? You'll find it all here. Shop our Cosmic Sound Room and pick up a record or two. Enjoy our Comic Coffee Lounge with a cup of Sasquatch coffee or a delicious menu item while geeking out over a super cool movie on our big screen. Come by and say hello to Maui. Cosmic Comic, Games and Collectibles. Superman loves us, and so will you.
Your favorite podcast, it's Critical Plus.
Yes, it's puppy power time. And to get in the spirit of that, we are going to talk about the Bubba Patrol. Now, okay, yes, everyone who watches the show knows I am here in Northwest Arkansas. This is not your beer running rednecks going out fighting crime. That not that kind of Bubba. Totally different Bubba, okay? That's a Bubba that goes out with Coy and, might come back with the beer, might drink it in the parking lot. So this is, this is kid stuff. This is puppies, little Bubbas, but they're also superheroes. You know what? I'm not even going to try to explain it any further because we've got somebody here who can do a much better job of that than I can. And that is John Anthony Chiak Soltero, the man with the longest name in the universe. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. That's hilarious because I've always thought, like, are people gonna think that this is more of like more of a rednecky kind of thing before they get into it? So that's hilarious that actually came up.
Well, you know what? I'm notorious for pointing out the elephant in the room and just poking it right away. Get it out of the way. Hero Shack is in the chat. Hey, Chris, glad you're here, man. I need to send you that new intro video so you can start using that. Remind me later tonight. I'll send you that new jingle. I just got that jingle and put it over our old video. So
I like that. I love that animation. That's super well done.
The animation, you'll see it again when we do the outro. That's the original one that I bought with a more of a bass symphonic kind of beat to it. That was our original intro. I'm using it as an outro because I know exactly where the beat is for me to click end broadcast, and it works perfectly. Nice. But I had this lovely lady on Fiverr who did jingles, and she said, I can turn a jingle around, in 48 hours. She turned it around in 24 hours, and I sent her the video. I said, mute it, but, kind of hit the beats of the visual beats, and she just did a perfect job. So very happy with that. I'm gonna see if I can't take the last bit of that jingle, the stinger bit, and just apply it to something else. Get my milk it, milk that jingle.
You gotta. That's awesome. I love that.
So this is the what is it? The fifth? The fifth issue. You've done 4 campaigns, 5 issues. Congratulations. I don't know how you got that. You did the math on that, but this is the final issue in this arc.
Correct. Yes.
For the Bubba Patrol, and these are, at first glance, these are puppies, but they're not all puppies because there's also who's in this thing.
So all the dogs in the book are my dogs or have been my dogs. The Cypress character, who we call the first Bubba, she is the dog I got my freshman year in high school, and really just cemented not just my love for dogs, but on a personal level, cemented understanding that I could be loved as well. I had a lot of issues growing up. I was a very angry and confused guy. And getting that dog, and Cypress, just meant the world to me. So she was around for 16 years. Unfortunately, didn't get to see the first issue published. But with issue 3, we showed her origin and showed a lot of things that happened because she set the tone for being a hero for me.
That's very cool. That's dogs love you unconditionally.
And the nice thing about them, I have two right now. One who is in the book and one who is not in the book yet. Grayson plays a huge role in issue 5. Not that he gets sidelined in issue 4, but his purpose was specifically to make it to issue 5 for his big role as a hero. So he kind of plays a secondary role in issue 4, but it's all the same story. So he still comes through shining and with flying colors. And then his 3 brothers and sisters, Foley, Guri, and Sabu, who've all passed, along with Cypress, are the base and core of this team. And then there's Agnew J. Pennyworth, who is former comedic sidekick who takes on the role of trainer and field leader for the team in this book. And he's played a role in every single project I've ever done in a comic book. And he's basically kind of like my icon or my Mickey Mouse, if you will. He's going to be the guy who people recognize through everything.
All right. Do these dogs have superpowers, or are they just, dogs that have got costumes on them? And the difference between, like, Bolt the movie and Bolt the actual actor dog thing.
Yeah. So they all have powers based on the different personalities that I saw with them through the years. So like Grayson tends to be more of a nervous dog. We thought he was having like a lot of anxiety, which I think he still does. Turns out he's got a heart palpitation or a pretty significant heart murmur. So he always kind of looks like he'll never look you in the eyes. He's always like tilting his head down. So we turn that into one of his powers is he will start to kind of shake when he gets nervous, and he generates this like static electric charge around himself that gives him super speed. And so the lightning bolt follows him wherever he goes. So he's kind of like the Flash in that.
Okay.
And he also, it gives him like an invulnerability, because in some of the stories, he loses control, like his feet slip out from under him and he'll go tumbling like into a wall and he'll pinball around, but he's completely unhurt because it gives him like a little, like a force field.
Yeah, just like a real puppy, stepping on their ears and getting
so much
fine.
So I have I've been working from home periodically for the last year and a half, and like it never fails. Somebody gets underneath the desk and like a toe gets run over or somebody gets kind of kicked or stepped on, and they're so resilient. And yet I'm so grateful that they have such a short-term memory that they're like, they don't think I did that on purpose, because I would never like do that. So they are the most resilient creatures I've ever seen in my entire life.
You can accidentally, obviously, kick a dog, and the dog knows you didn't do it on purpose. You can be in the same room with a cat who falls off the table across the room from you, and he knows it's your fault. And look at you just like that.
Exactly.
That's the difference between those animals. So you got the Indiegogo going here. I love the logo, by the way.
Thank you.
Have you used this in all the books, or is this just the 5th issue special one?
This is for the 5th issue specifically. We did a different logo for issue 4, and it was based on the Avengers title font for Avengers 4. Okay. But this is when you scroll down and you see it's in the cover. The main cover is an homage to Brave and the Bold 28, the first appearance of the Justice League. Right. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to go all out with this and make that title card and figure out how to work on it.
Why am I not seeing it when I scroll down here? I mean, I can see the little one over here.
Yeah, because for whatever genius reason, I didn't put it in. I didn't put it in the body, and I will correct that afterwards.
You need to, because this is a really cool homage cover with the Bubba Patrol here, that Justice League homage, and they're up against Pollo Gira, which is some serious Mexican Japanese fusion going on here. It's a little bit like Kung Pao chorizo. Um,
Nice. I like that.
I
I
don't
would
think I
like
want
to
to.
try.
You want
I
to try
would
it?
love to, I will totally try it. I'm up for anything spicy.
That's it would be double spicy. Yeah, get some chorizo, treat it with a Kung Pao stir fry, and go to town.
I make a mean green chili salsa. I'm telling you that.
Mm.
Like to the point where you can't taste anything because it's so hot that you're just like,
That's just a level down from mace, then. I mean,
but yeah, I'll put that in there. But yeah, I figured with so going into issue 4, and the thing is issue 4 and issue 5 technically are the same issue. It was originally written as a 40-page script, but when I got to page 26 of pencils, I was like, this is the perfect stopping point for issue 24.
and
So I
it's a
had to
good size,
pad.
too.
Yeah, exactly. And I had to pad issue 5 just a little bit. But going into issue 4, when I was trying to figure out the cover, I was talking to my colorist, who is professional. He's worked for Extreme Studios, Top Cow. He's even worked for Marvel Comics doing colors. And we were talking, and I'm like, I don't really want to do another homage cover. Like, I've done a bunch of them, and he's just like, why not? And we got into this discussion where it kind of didn't matter what I drew, that it would kind of be looked at it in one way or another as derivative of something else. And that's when it hit me. I'm like, issue 4, Avengers 4, Captain America, that iconic look of them all charging forward. And issue 4 is when they all put on their costumes and head out for their very first mission. And then issue 5 was perfect to do the Brave and the Bold homage, because I just kind of worked it out in my head how like Pollo Gira was gonna represent Starro, and each of the characters like even fit in that motif of like their positioning and stuff like that. So you give Grayson the Flash position because he's the fast one. You got to give Agnew the Aquaman position, just because there's actually a scene in the book where they all swarm Pollo Gira, and Agnew jumps over the tail on the forward swipe, but gets caught in the back swipe, and he's hanging on for dear life, screaming, "This was a really bad idea."
Now, I've read the PDF or parts of the PDF, and this is a world with people walking around in it, and these puppies that have superpowers, and then there's this Teddy Ruxpin come to life thing. Explain how he fits into this universe.
So the anti-hero verse is something that came about back in like 1996 when I first came up with the characters. And Agnew was the sidekick for the main character in my original book called Youth in Asia. The main character was based on me. And a year after coming up with those characters, I was like, I need this character in my life, because if Nash is based on me and he has Agnew, then I need Agnew. So I went out to a thrift store, found a bear that was the right size, found a doll that had yarn hair, and put them together that night. We're actually coming up on 25 years of him being around physically, because he was made in 97 in February. So he was the sidekick in this kind of hard-boiled, gritty comic book that was just edgy for the sake of being edgy, because it was a 20-something-year-old making it and thought that's what he had to do.
Yeah.
He then took on the persona in kind of like a pocket universe where he becomes Fuzzy Face, which was a Texas Chainsaw Massacre meets the Muppets type story. Very, very humorous, very dark, but there's no blood in it because these are all like Muppet-like characters being torn to shreds. And then a few years after that, like a lot of things in my life,
Heroinberg's on top of our link, so
Nice. Appreciate that.
He is our wrench. I almost said hammer. He does that too, but mostly he's a wrench.
So when it came time to do the Bubba Patrol, it came natural that he would fit. Because actually, ironically, we're doing issue 5 right now, but in issue 5 of Euthanasia, there's a 4-page prologue where Agnew gets Sabu that we included in issue 1. So that was like that origin, and it tied in so well to the Bubba Patrol that there's this character that came from kind of a weird, almost dark place and could be turned into more of a imaginary friend than kind of that like weird offshoot of the psyche. And so that's basically where Agnew comes from and how he fits in. And if you get to a specific point in issue 1, that actually comes up where they talk about like, well, what happens if we get caught? And Sabu looks at Agnew and he goes, well, I'm a talking dog with superpowers and you're a real life Muppet. I think we're going to be fine. And he's just like, oh, okay. And it's kind of like if you think about The Incredibles meets The Secret Life of Pets, because there are people like Agnew, the guy that Agnew sidekicks for, he knows there's dogs. He doesn't know they're superheroes. He doesn't know they have superpowers. He doesn't know any of the stuff they're kind of doing around town. But like you'll see it show up in other books once I get back to those stories.
Yeah. Now, I'll tell you the first thing that came to my mind when I'm seeing Bubba Patrol, and it's all puppies, is, of course, Paw Patrol.
Right.
Any concerns about being seen as derivative of that? I mean, they're different. They're not, fireman, cop, scuba diver, but, they do all have unique abilities, which is another way of differentiating them.
Yeah. So there have been times where I've thought about that, but the way I look at it is Paw Patrol is definitely a kid's cartoon. It's made for children. It's marketed towards children. The Bubba Patrol is all ages. And the way I differentiate that is the difference between Paw Patrol and Pixar. Like anybody's going to watch a Pixar movie. You don't have to be a kid. You don't have to be 60 years old.
Yeah.
And the Bubba Patrol itself is kind of a throwback to the Bronze and Silver Age of comics, where comics could be fun. You could have these dynamic characters. Everything could be brightly colored. You could tell these good stories, and it didn't have to be super dark or like over the top violent in order to get its point across. And so that's where I kind of like make that interchange with not just Paw Patrol, but anything that somebody might see as a kid's book versus an all ages book.
Sure. Parents will watch a Pixar movie. They'll sit through a Paw Patrol movie.
Exactly. I actually had a friend just posted a meme on Facebook where it's a person staring themselves in the mirror and they're like, you're the parent, you're the adult, you do not have to watch Paw Patrol. And I was like, that's perfect.
Now, one of the things I do a lot on these interviews, John, is I spend other people's money, specifically yours, on tiers that don't exist. Like, oh, missed opportunity. It doesn't matter that it costs an extra $6,000 or so. It's it ties in with the book. You should. But because you've had Agnew for so long as a character, and you mentioned you found a bear, you found a doll with the yarn hair, you made the mashup. Why not let other people have an Agnew?
That's actually something we did back in 2008, and there's one left. The woman I was dating at the time, who inadvertently is responsible for the Bubba Patrol, not creatively, but I had Cypress at that point in time and didn't need another dog, didn't want another dog. She wakes me up one Saturday and says, we're going to Marana, which is a suburb to the north of Tucson where I live. And we got a dog. And it was one of the shadiest looking dog pickup rescues purchases you've ever seen in your entire life, because the joke in Tucson is Marana's kind of that juggalo, not really highly thought of suburb. And we pulled into a Circle K off the interstate and standing outside waiting for this person to show up. I don't know who they are. Guy rolls up in a car. We do the recognition nod, even though I don't know it's him. And he comes walking out with this tiny little rat terrier teacup chihuahua that I could literally hold in my hand, wrapped in a blanket. And I fell in love with this dog instantly. So, like, I have the two dogs I have now, Grayson and Chica, are both relatively small, under 20 pounds. Cypress was the biggest dog I ever had. She was 50, maybe. And I apologize because it's kind of like off the rails there. But Jessica, who was my girlfriend at the time, we did some conventions together, and she wanted to make little mini Agnews. And so we looked for patterns and stuff like that, got the equipment to make them. And she made about 20 of them or so. And within the past couple of years, I found a couple of them that weren't completely finished. So I finished them and was selling them at like shows and made little adoption certificates for them. I'd like to do something like that, little Agnews or little Bubba plushies. But we'll have to see how these campaigns go, and then probably do them one at a time as we go through.
Campaigns are plushies on campaigns specifically are the next new thing. I've seen a couple of different campaigns. Mike Jimmy is doing it on Life on Korra. He's got the Otzi, his character Otzi plushie, coming out with the number 5 campaign. I'm sure I've seen it somewhere else as well, but I'm also sure it's pretty expensive. Or you had to find kids who can sew in China, and utilize that avenue.
Otherwise, it's going to be a lot of hours, just spent putting those together. And I have some friends who actually put together some plushies called Zudu dolls, and I don't know what their time frame for turning out one is. But I mean, they make money doing it. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe I just need to figure that out. So,
yeah. The other thing, yes, Creepsters, that's the one I was thinking of, Chris. Thank you. The Creepsters does have a plushie. So yeah, that definitely counts. I was also, I got derailed there for a second myself. I was also thinking, what would be kind of cool, because, one of the biggest compliments that a comic book creator can have is when they go to a convention and someone walks up dressed as their character, cosplaying it. So if you had like dog capes, just the little pullover sweaters and stuff, or the vests and things, for your Bubba Patrol, and said, hey, do you have a dog? No, let him show his, let his inner Bubba, let it out.
Yeah. I actually, so my sister's mother-in-law is a seamstress, not professionally, but like she made my sister's wedding dress. She made princess dresses for her granddaughter, and she's made my sister and her husband, before they moved back to Tucson, used to dog sit for a Labradoodle, I think, named Reef. So they were like his aunt and uncle or whatever. And Grandma Marilyn, sees these pictures and is just like, you have to walk him at night, like when it's raining, right? Let me make him a coat, measure him, in all the appropriate areas, and I'll make for a dog that wasn't theirs. And so then my sister and her husband moved to Tucson, and they adopt a greyhound. And she makes him like a little poncho for walking in the rain, and like a house coat because he's got no undercoat. He gets cold really easily. And when issue 3 was coming out, I asked her if she would make little capes for Grayson and Foley. And she did. And it was interesting because when I was having to redraw all of issue 3, which is a story in and of itself, all the digital files got lost. I didn't back them up. It was hard drive fell off the table, fell 3 feet, broke, and that was that. Like the one page that was still up on my computer was the one page I could save. And it was a 32-page book. So I had to redraw 31 pages. So lesson learned, back everything up that you're working on. And
solid state drives, people.
yeah. And so while redrawing it, Foley was diagnosed with cancer and given maybe 6 months to live. He had a really large tumor, and so I decided to give him his special moment in the book, where the Bubbas get presented with their costumes, but he specifically gets to put his on. And his costume is a purple cape made out of fleece or like a blanket material with like a red W on it. And he's got a safety pin that holds it in place. And that was the design back in 2012 when I first designed the characters. And so I draw this scenario out, and Agnew's presenting him with the cape, and Foley looks so proud in the book, and he takes it out and he shows it to him and very carefully ties it around his neck and puts the safety pin on, and Foley puffs his little chest out and puts his head up. And that's in the comic book, right?
Right.
We get the cape delivered to us, Grayson's cape and Foley's cape. And Foley's cape is the first one we take out. Foley is going ballistic because he knows there's something special in this package. And it plays out exactly like it did in the comic book. And I present it to him, and he sits down. He knows what it is. I very carefully drape it around his neck, tie it in place. We didn't have the giant safety pin at that point. And he just sat there like a super dog. And then we took out Grayson's cape and put Grayson in his cape, and Grayson didn't like wearing his cape and ran away. And, you know, it got tangled around his feet and stuff like that. But that was the thing about Foley, is Foley knew how important it was. So 2021 rolls around. He's made it through Christmas. He's made it through New Year's. He made it a year. They said 6 months. And he made it long enough for me to come to terms with it and be strong enough to say goodbye. And we put him in his cape one last time. And he went out of this world like a hero, in my arms, wearing his costume. And so that cape, the very next day, went up in a right here, actually, where my hand is. There's a shadow box with his cape and the safety pin. Yeah.
Yeah, we can see it back there now. That's cool.
And most of the books behind me, I still need to put up some of them because I need to get more of those holders.
Oh yeah, those holders are hard to find, and some of them suck. I
bought a few, and I get it out of the box, and the little hook on the back of it's already snapped off, and I'm like, okay, well, this is completely worthless. So
I don't even use the hooks because I'm one of these Velcro guys. You know, I get the command strip Velcros, and I just put it because I'll never get it straight otherwise.
I should do that. Yeah.
But there's one brand I bought before I got the ones I got now, which the ones I got now I love. Is like, you know, you push the frame off, you slide it behind the glass, you push the frame back on, snapped in place. This other one was like a sheet of thick plastic that curved under and then curved over, and then a little plastic square. And you're supposed to slide your comic book in there behind the mat that's provided, and then you slide and it's like tight, and you never, and the window that it makes in the mat is exactly the size of a comic book, not like a fraction of an inch smaller, so you've got something to hold it. So the comic book just like pushes right through it. I was like, yeah, these suck. I never buy them again. But you know, I bought the ones that look like 8x10 frames, and they're great.
Yeah, I have a guy who's backed all of my campaigns since he found out about the book, and he's commissioned me numerous times. He did one of the sketch cover tiers for issue 3, and all he wanted was something relevant to the story. He didn't care what it was. And there's a scene where Agnew and Cypress are talking about, where Agnew is talking about feeding Cypress Vienna sausages. And so the sketch cover I did for him is Agnew and Cypress sitting there with with multiple empty cans of Vienna sausages and him like feeding her Vienna sausages. So for Christmas that year and Foley's last day, like he got to eat a ton of Vienna sausages. He loved those.
Nice. And you know, you had the scene where Agnew finds Cypress. Who do we have?
This is Grayson.
Hi, Grayson.
He's going to be the star of issue 5, or one of the stars of issue 5. He plays
having dogs on the show.
An integral role in everything about Pollo Jira.
You're gonna get the big chicken monster.
I don't want to give it away, but like, yeah, his story and Pollo Jira's story cross over, and it actually boils down to when the first DC Fandom happened. Like, I was so inspired to start writing issue 5 or issue 4, and we had just sent issue 3 out to the printer. I think we had just finished the crowdfunding campaign for issue 3, and I ended up getting like writer's block while I was doing the approach to it. And so I ended up taking a break and going to a bookstore here in town. And while looking around, I noticed that the line was like super duper long. And I was just like, I'm not waiting in line, especially during the pandemic. Like, I don't want to do this. So I headed home, and on my way home, there's a line from one of the books that just clicked in my head. And I was like, that's it. That's the connection. That's how this story ends. And, you know, got home, finished the outline, started writing the script. I think I finished the script the next day or so. So I wrote 40 pages and then just started penciling it, and contacted Bill Simpson, who was the colorist on issue 4, and asked him, or he did inks on issue 3. And I kind of like, I have a weird way of asking people if they want to work on stuff, and be like, you know, so this is kind of like, do you want to do this? And, you know, so somebody's just like, well, do you want me to do it? I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. Instead of just being like, hey, how do you feel about being a colorist on this? And so partway through doing issue 4, he asked me, well, how many pages are you going to color? And I was just like, whatever you don't feel like coloring. And so he was like, so am I the colorist on this? And I was just like, yeah, that was the plan. And he's like, oh, okay.
You have a totally different way about it than I do. I just send pages over and say, here, color these.
And so then after I finished issue 4, I was just like, okay, do you want to be the colorist on issue 5? And he's just like, yes, I'll do it. But I got better. Like, that communication of actually working with somebody has actually helped me, I think, be a better creator and a better leader, because I have to delegate changes and stuff like that. Just like with some of the variant covers, like having that communication with those artists. My editor is my sister, who has a background in journalism, degree in journalism. And so now I'll send her everything through Dropbox, and she figured out a way to like be able to edit it on Dropbox and send them back to me. And she has a really interesting way of editing. And so she likes to ask specific questions about things. It's not just about grammar and syntax. It's about, what's the context of this? And so I'll explain it to her, and she's like, okay, because I didn't understand that. Will your readers understand that? I'm like, I hope so. Well, I mean, we're going to see, won't we? Because one of the exclamations that the characters use is, oh, Eisner, instead of, oh, God. And it's not even to avoid saying, oh, God, but it's kind of an inside joke I have with people, where if Kirby is king, then Eisner would be God, right? Like, I mean, because he came before. And so some people get it. Other people are like, Eisner? Who's Eisner? And I'm like, it'll take too long to explain the joke.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a comic book universe.
And actually, when I go back to do euthanasia, it will, like, the first issue will tie into the end of issue 3 of the Bubba Patrol.
Yeah. Now that title that's 3 words, not 1 word, right? It's
Yes,
it's
yes,
a
youth
homophone.
in Asia. Yeah.
Yeah. So looking at the tiers, well, it's homophones. You got to ask, which one are you saying?
No, I get you.
Um, you got your week 1 Barker backers here. This is an early bird tier.
Mhm.
Is it an early bird tier? It says featured. I
Yeah,
thought it was early bird for a second there.
yeah, because I am actually going to deactivate it on like next Monday.
Okay.
So for the first week, for the same price as the regular Bubba Basics, you're going to be able to get 2 copies. So one to read if you're a collector, one to put away, one to give to a friend, just kind of whatever you want to do. It's just kind of my way of saying thank you for being an early bird to us. For everybody who backs today, I'm doing an upgrade, a rebark upgrade. So, I mean, if you're familiar with rebarks, I keep saying it, remarks, people like to get those quick sketches by artists and stuff. I don't do those. I do rebarks. So it's a sketch of the dog or one of the dogs or characters on the cover.
Right.
So if you back today, not only can you take that week 1 Barker backers, but one of those copies will then have a sketch added to it. And
Your
I've been
bonuses are stacking, people.
yeah. And then there's just the regular one if you want the physical copy.
Now,
Which I
who
had
did
somebody.
this?
What's up?
They took the $15 give me a copy of the book when they could have got 2 for the same price.
So that was actually one of my variant cover artists backing the campaign, and I told her I hadn't featured it, like I hadn't put the other one up top yet. So that's my fault, not hers. So she is automatically entered into that. She's going to get 2 copies of it, and it will be rebarked as well. So
now here we can see Agnew. They're attacking. They're running into the attack here. So let's take a quick look at the helps we've got on screen here because we have a good shot of all of them now. This is obviously Agnew's grabbing the tail.
Can you scroll up just a little bit more?
Yeah, because first of all I can do it like this. That's a little bit bigger. And then I can. If I go too high, it rescales itself down because now all laptops are also phones. So
yeah.
So who all are we looking at here?
So you've got Agnew in the kind of doing the follow the bouncing hero, who's dodging the tail and then gets caught. You've got Sabu up on Poyojira's head, covering up his eyes. And then Guri has the space helmet. And her brother Foley, her littermate Foley, is the one with the purple cape. And they're both getting kind of whooshed out, like tail swept.
Yeah. So why does she have a fishbowl on her head? Other than because somebody thought it was funny.
That's exactly why she has. That's the exact reason. So the first image I drew of them was Sabu, Foley, and Guri floating in space. And come here then. If you want to be on screen, you got to come here. And I drew her laying back because she loved getting belly rubs, and just with a space helmet on. I don't know why. And then that's why I drew them in space, because she had space helmet on. And there was actually a comic strip, the very first comic strip I ever did, of them putting on their costumes for the very first time, and them sitting in front of the Bubba signal, which is just the bat signal it's a dog bone. Nice. And they're talking about, one of them asks Guri, why do you have a space bowl or a space helmet on? And she's like, because Pop thinks it's funny. And that's the exact reason why she's got a space helmet. There's no logical reason for the space helmet.
Yeah. Now, one of the things about the dogs is, of course, that they do talk. But is this a situation where they talk to Agnew, or does everyone know that these dogs can talk?
No, it's kind of like just them talking to each other and just them talking back.
Okay, so
In
like human people don't say, "Hey, it's the Bubba Patrol," and and they don't pass over saying, "Don't
I
worry,
think,
citizens, we're."
yeah, in the future, I'm probably going to have them interact with like little kids, so little kids can talk to them, and then maybe with adults. But I haven't gotten to the point where they're interacting with people all that often. Um, I mean, Agnew's kind of the closest thing to people that they've encountered
Yeah,
at this point,
and of
other
course
than
Agnew lives with people, and he brought the dog home because he was out walking his hot dog,
correct.
and
Yeah.
suddenly the hot dog was no more.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite like inside jokes.
Okay, so you do have digital version, which is good. People, we have people here who love to have a digital version.
Mhm.
Interestingly enough, your digital is the same price as your physical. I don't see that often. Cool,
Yeah.
go for it.
So with the digital, you're getting all 5 issues.
Oh, that's different.
Yeah. So I'm still trying to figure out how to create the digital files because the one that I sent you was from the very first issue that we did in 2017. That was the proof sent from the printer. Um, so I'm trying to build them in Clip Studio, which I know I can do because they have that EPUB export. And people are going to be able to get the issues separately. So you won't technically get 5 issues because it's not going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1 and 2 will be together because that's how we reprinted the early issues because we were running low on them.
Okay. I was gonna say you could probably just put them all in one digital graphic novel at this point. Just
Yeah, I might consider doing that just to make it simpler for people. But if people want to just buy them individually, but yeah, that might be a better idea.
all right. And then for $20, you have the non-con exclusive cover. Um, Explain the term non-con because I've been in some dark corners of the internet where that means something different.
Yeah, I've had somebody tell me that, but you are the only other person I've heard that knows that term. Non-con, the online Comic Con, is a weekly or semi-weekly comic book show that I do on Facebook, selling comic books and graphic novels and stuff like that. It's just kind of like a buy it now or claim sale. And
That's
the reason
cool.
I called it non-con was because it's not a comic con. And so sometimes I'll sit down and I'll do like a panel where I'll discuss topics and stuff like that, but it's usually just me selling books. So this is, for whatever weird reason, the first time I'm doing an exclusive cover for the Bubba Patrol for my comic book show.
Okay, and how is this cover going to be different from the other covers?
So the characters are colored to represent the Justice League. So instead of, yeah, so on the cover, Foley's cape is the colors of Martian Manhunter's cape. Sabu's cape is the color of Green Lantern's cape. Guri has little star trunks on because she's Wonder Woman. Grayson is got the Flash colors, of course. And you're seeing it looks like it's graded, right? So that's what the cover is going to be. It's going to be like a slab variant.
It's
not going to be graded, but you're going to get a cover that looks like a graded comic book.
And you're only getting it in 5.0, people. So yeah.
I figured, it's issue 5. 5.0 would be kind of funny.
That's perfectly cool. Yeah, I like
it. The neat thing about, because I was like looking at the slabs and like figuring out, okay, how does this work? Like what information do they put on it? There's like everybody's credits are on there, the artists and the writers. Awesome. Thank you so much. So like my name is on there, Bill's name is on there, my sister's name is on there as the people who worked on, yes, I know, who worked on the book. But with the last couple of issues 4 and issue 5, because they're these retro vintage throwback homages that didn't have credits on the cover, I don't include any credits on the cover. And that's something that I just kind of thought, it's kind of like that, I don't know, what is it? Notre Dame did that whole thing where like nobody's got their name on the jersey.
Yeah.
I don't follow sports anymore, so I don't really know, but it's less important about who created it, and it's more important about like the finished product. Plus, I wanted to follow the way those covers looked as closely as possible.
Oh yeah, once you're going for what's the word I'm looking for now? You're trying to stay as close to the original as possible. Authenticity. Authenticity is the thing I was looking for. I mean, I did my first published work was an Alice in Wonderland pastiche, being passed off as though Lewis Carroll had written it, and the editors in England kicked it back. It's like, yeah, you're using extra apostrophes in some of these contracted words. We don't understand why you're doing that. They need to be, just respell those. I'm like, yeah, except here's the handwritten version of Alice in Wonderland, Alice's Adventures on the Ground by Lewis Carroll, and he did that. He would put an apostrophe wherever a letter should have been, even if more than one was taken out. And they're like, oh, well, if we are going for authenticity, we're going to keep them then. So
yeah, it's kind of like Grayson's dialogue. I make all my dogs talk. Like I give them voices and personalities, and Grayson doesn't pronounce every single word and every like syllable and stuff like that. So when I did his dialogue specifically in this issue, because he talks a lot in this issue, it's written as if he's saying it. So it's meant to be a little confusing because he's more innocent. He's more like a little kid that would say, I happy instead of I am happy or I'm happy. So I wanted to go for that like real actual voice of him.
right. So you got some stretch goals here. We haven't unlocked any yet. But you're going to get some digital wallpaper coming out here. Phone wallpaper or desktop wallpaper? Is it?
I'm gonna, because it's formatted as a comic, I'm shooting for phone wallpaper. But I can make all 3 of the covers available, and one of the covers it's a widescreen, so it's perfect for a laptop.
Oh, there you go. Hit the $1,000, you're gonna have some coloring pages. I think that's an excellent idea for a book of this sort. Is because the way the art is already, it's very already. I feel if I want to say it's not overly detailed that it's an insult, but that's not it. It's drawn like if you just took the colors out, it's a coloring book page already. There's not a lot of fine line inking going on there for depth and realism and such like that.
And that's my style too. So I definitely don't take an insult to that at all.
$1,500. We're gonna get some buttons. Yeah, the pin back buttons. I like those. Vinyl stickers. Okay, now we're in my wheelhouse. I've got new laptop. All the stickers gone. I didn't realize they wouldn't be with me that long. I had my last laptop was just sticker heaven on the back from all these crowdfunding campaigns that I've gone with. Now this one's a virgin, so we got to work on that. So get some die cut vinyl stickers. Say it slower. Trading card, the first Bubba Patrol trading card. Excellent.
And I still got to decide, because I had some artwork created for issue 3 for trading cards, but we never hit those stretch goals. So I do have some options for the first card, or I can just do a brand new one as well. So.
And you've got some backer goals as well. I like these. You get 50 backers, or will there be a how to draw tutorial added? So yeah, those how to draw somebody cartoon things never worked for me, because I always like, first start with a light egg shaped and then cross it and then put the eyes here. And then it's like, finish George Perez product in the last panel. I was like, no, it doesn't work for me.
I checked those books out so often in grade school. The how to draw 50 monsters, how to draw 50 cartoon characters, 50 superheroes. And I love the step-by-step instruction. With issues 1 through 4, or not 1 through 4, but the special edition and 2 and 3 and 4, you get, it's 6 or 7 steps. So it's very short tutorial on how to draw them. And with this one, if we hit that 50 backers, which I know we can definitely do, I would like to do a Poyojira, because all the other characters have already been shown how to be drawn. And the Poyojira one will probably necessitate a double page spread.
Well, it's a more complex character.
Yeah, it's a much more complex character. So I think it'd be a lot of fun to do, though.
And do you have fan art already on hand to use as fan art pages for the?
I've had some pieces submitted that we've posted in previous issues. So hopefully, I'm hoping, that moms, dads, grandparents see this and they're like, oh, little Jimmy likes to draw. Like, let's back this and make sure it gets there and then send in. So if we start getting an influx of fan art, it'll have to be a limit of like 5 to 10 images, just how much I can fit on one page. But
sure.
I'd love to add as many as possible as well. So.
I used to love those things where it was the closest you got to audience participation in comics pre-internet. It's like Betty and Veronica's outfits drawn by so-and-so in Akron, Ohio, age 14.
And a lot of I've been watching some YouTube videos that do like deep dives into comic book history and creator history, and some of them go over like the letters column. And my letters column is called Bubba Tales. TALES, and that's where we print the letters, or where we've had the fan art in the past, and that's also where the Bubba 101 tutorial comes from as well. So I'm a big fan of those just being submitted anyways. Like if we don't hit 75 backers and somebody sends in their kids fan art or their own fan art, I'm not opposed to putting an adult's fan art on there. I'll put it in there. Like anytime somebody thinks enough of your product to recreate it in their own image, it's super flattering. I actually have one piece up on my wall right next to my bedroom, which is the first piece of fan art that I ever got. And it was really awesome because this kid did it the way that I used to do art. Like I had drawn him a sketch of Cypress, and that was his favorite character. And he's sitting there with, blank sheet of printer paper. And I wasn't supposed to see him doing this because we were at a store and I passed by him. And he has my piece sitting next to him and he's drawing the piece using it as a reference. And I'm like, that's perfect because that's exactly what you're supposed to do as a new artist.
Exactly. 100 backers, we're going to get a read along. You doing everybody's voice, or are you going to bring the family in and say take over some part?
No, it's all going to be me. I'm going to do my best to make it as quality as possible, because I'm going to try to figure out if I can do where it's actually like you see the pages on screen, or it might be super low tech where I'm just filming it with my camera as I'm going over the pages and doing like each page and reading the voices.
You can you can do it as a PowerPoint slideshow and save it as a movie.
Good idea.
That way you can time everything for recording on each page. I can help you with that because I do that all the time.
That'd be awesome.
And there's another cover down here, the JoJo Scenes variant. Okay.
Yes.
Now this is a different style.
JoJo Seams is a local to Tucson artist. She does a comic book called The Makeshift Man, which is a beautifully watercolored story about this like eccentric problem solver and his sidekick, Jackalope Elvis. And she's also doing MetaZoo trading cards. And so I approached her because we've known each other since 2007, 2008. I've read every single one of the Makeshift Man. It's a really offbeat comic. So if you like offbeat brand humor and super quality art, like it's a good pickup. There's one panel in issue 6, the most recent issue, where Elvis is peeking out from underneath a bench and looking up and has this big, weird, toothy grin and these big, wide eyes. And I was just like, that's it. I know JoJo can do this. And hit her up and came up with the idea of doing, I wanted a selfie where they were all looking terrified. Like, okay, everybody looks surprised on 3, 2, 1. But the issue was, how do you fit 7 characters, one of whom is not the same size as the others, into a single panel, right? So we talked on the phone, and she said, what if they're taking a photograph and it's a moment in time that you can then reproduce later? And that way Cypress gets to be a part of it as well, because you'll see where she is during the entirety of this, but she's not really on the battlefield during the whole thing.
All right.
And so Pollo Jira's expression is like, what are you guys doing? This doesn't make any sense. I thought we were friends. Like, you guys look shocked. That's weird. and she killed it. She completely crushed it.
So you got a Bubba Patrol Theater. Now, what is this? This is
that's another variant.
Okay.
I'm a huge fan of Mystery Science Theater 3000 and Riff Tracks. And so I hit up another local artist named Alex Ild. And Alex Ild has a webtoons coming up called Dealings of the Damned. They've already got like between 13 and 1,500 people waiting for that first episode to drop. And so I told them about the idea. They were like, okay. And they cranked it out in less than a week.
Wow.
And so I kind of drew out like a little rough, because at first they didn't know what MST3K was. And I'm like, Mystery Science Theater 3000. They're like, oh, I grew up watching that. Okay, I get it. And so they also do really good Monster Girls and stuff like that. So I knew they could do a really good Pollo Jira. And Alex Isle just also knocked this out of the park and gave it a real fun look. So originally it was going to be a wraparound cover, but I decided against that. So it's going to be a widescreen cover just on the front. So people can then just put it in a frame and put it sideways. And they'll have that widescreen look with the dogs in the front row, just like talking about how Ray Harryhausen would be proud.
Very, very cool. This is, of course, the catch-up tier. You got the you can see the different logos you've used here. The Super Duper Cypress. This is, of course, the Avengers one here. Low-hanging fruit, but you could have used a Doom Patrol logo.
True.
Because Patrol, it's already spelled out for you.
Right. So with the different motifs, I think I was just thinking like, somebody suggested, why don't you do an ASM 300 homage? Everybody loves those. And the thing I didn't think about when doing them was there are people who specifically collect homage covers.
Yes,
so I've sold copies of issue 3 to quite a few people. And some people are like, do you have other issues of the Super Duper Cypress? And I'm like, no, it's the Bubba Patrol. That was just, we did that for the effect, so it looked like Amazing Spider-Man. There was a guy on a collector's post on Facebook who was like, I collect Avengers 4 homages. Privately messaged him and showed him the book, and he was just like, okay, now I have to buy this. And I feel like the books, the covers are just getting more and more advanced, and the homages are just that much better in terms of not just their complexity, but how they fit into the story.
I completely understand. One of the ones I have framed here, these are some guys I've had on the show before. They called starring Sonia Devereaux, and this is the cover of their last book. You recognize the George Perez Avengers meeting of the
nice.
7 of you get to stay. The rest of you are gone. So that was
like
development hall. This is, by the way, the frame I was telling you about that I hate. You can see it's literally like, just slide it under these 2 tabs and then put this plastic sheeting here to hold it a little bit tighter. Yeah, not crazy about it, but especially when the half hour you have to spend sliding it in again, taking it out, trying to put it in a third
and the
time.
potential damage you can do to your book by putting it in there. Yeah, no, that's not ideal.
No, it definitely is not.
Yeah.
Oh, you're selling an ad. I hate seeing that, John.
Well, the thing,
but...
yeah, it's threefold actually. Like, one, it helps me fund without really doing much. 2, it helps my book look a lot more professional because it has legit ads in it.
True.
And 3, hopefully it can help some people's brands and products and things like that. And like, the only thing about it is that, it has to be for something that's suitable for all ages. Like,
oh yeah, you can't advertise the local strip club. That would,
exactly. I mean,
no.
like, I have some friends who did an ad on the back of issue 4, and their book is like a throwback to like pre-code horror stuff. It's not vulgar by any stretch of the imagination, but it is horror based. But the way they presented the ads and everything is very classy and very retro in that. So it's a perfect fit. Plus, it helps their independent comic hopefully grow. Retailer brick and mortars. I'm trying to encourage people who have, like, online shows, whether it be them selling books or whether it be, like a podcast. No pressure, just saying it's another way for, like, I think the community to kind of circulate that independence.
I just bought 2 ads in the latest Alterna campaign that they had there. But
oh, nice.
But the thing is, most crowdfunders, they're crowdfunding a graphic novel, even if it's 26 pages. it's a graphic novel, and this impacts the shipping. Is this something that you just said, yeah, I'm going to bite the bullet on this? We're going to go first class mail now.
Yeah. My whole thing is everything I shipped with issue 4, I did priority, because some of the stuff I was shipping were sketches and stuff like that. And I wanted to make sure my people were taken care of.
Yeah.
And then some of the covers, like the JoJo Seams cover and the Alex Ild covers, are going to be super limited. There are only going to be 30 total copies printed, 25 of which are available on the campaign itself. So I gotta try to help out where I can help out.
I got you. You have a retailer 5-pack. This is one of each of the covers, or
it's 5 copies of each book.
Okay,
so 25 books total.
That's a good price for 25 books.
And the thing,
good.
Yeah, the thing about all my perks, I calculated shipping into everything. So when you click on that to buy it, you're putting in $60. You're not putting in $60 plus $10 or $20. All the other books have already been paid for. So basically what I need help with is printing issue 5.
Okay. Is that true on every tier or just on this tier?
Every single tier has shipping already taken care of.
That's cool.
Yeah. Last issue, I kind of ate several $100s shipping everything out. But you know what? Like, I want people to read this book. I'm okay with that. So
that's almost our primary business now, is shipping projects for people who crowdfund. So I hate to hear that you had to eat funds on shipping. We try to, we consult with people before they go live with a crowdfunding and let them know what they should be charging shipping, especially international shipping.
I'm not doing any international, which is why I added the digital. It's just that some of the funding that you reached last time, the real issue with the last issue was I was printing through Alterna for everything up to issue 4, and they were doing their printing background or printing program, their piggyback program,
Right.
and their printer was not able to fulfill things as needed, so they stopped doing it. And their price point per unit was super low and really helpful. So I had to find a different printer because I want to print on newsprint. So the printer I found quoted me a price which was pretty much double. So I had to make more money, which meant more of my money went into the other side of it, which was the shipping, which again, I don't mind because the book itself was paid for.
Right. You got some sketch covers here. So for $70, you can get a piece of original art right there on the cover of your book.
Yep.
And then you have the doggy bag. It's a mystery. You don't know what you're going to get in here.
So you will get the entire set. You'll get 1 through 5. You'll get the Bubba Files, which is kind of the Secret Files and Origins book. And you will get a pre-sketched cover. So these are covers that I've already gotten done or will have done by the end of the campaign. And you'll also get a limited variant. And there were some limited variants we did for issue 4, also limited to just 30 total. So there's some of those in there. We had a retailer incentive cover. A couple of those were inserted into these doggy bags. And then we're going to add a couple of the either the JoJo seams or the Alex Siled covers into those remaining doggy bags.
All right, cool. You got some more retailer packs here. You get a 10-pack, so it's an even bigger deal if you get 10 copies of all 1 through 5. And then some ads. So these are the priority placement ads. I mean, inside back cover, inside front cover, and of course the very back cover. Everyone can see the very back cover while you're reading your comic book.
Exactly.
So they'll, be like, what's that?
And the other thing that some people might be balking about with the price on those ads, this book is going to be printed at least 1,000 copies. So that's just the regular cover. And then all the variants will have their own print runs on them as well. So you're looking at a lot of different notice from different people, different shops all around the country. Hopefully we start getting some people outside of the state picking this issue up as well.
And having bought ads in these exact places, that's normal price actually. That's a real good price. You got a retailer exclusive cover, $400. So wait a second. This is the retailer says we want to be the retailer?
No. So the retailer exclusive cover works that you're going to get a cover created specifically for your store. There's going to be 25 copies of that book printed. Only those books go to you. Nobody else is going to get those. You're also going to get a retailer 10-pack. So 10 copies of each issue on top of the 25 covers. You're also going to get the original artwork, the 11x17 artwork created for it. The interiors for the books are all done digitally, but I always do the covers traditionally.
Nice. And now is the cover going to in any way reflect the retailer's brand, their chain, or anything?
So on those two, you kind of can't see it, but there's like a logo in the corner of those covers. Those were covers created for issue 1 for Presidio Comics and Old Pueblo Comics here in Tucson. And so they had covers of that book. They had the regular cover of the book as well. And so with this, you've got the whole library that's going to show up at your door.
Gotcha. And of course, this one's got the Dias de los Muertos cover on it. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. And the other one is actually, it's a wishing shrine here in Tucson called El Tiradito. And it's kind of like a public altar where people can go and place offerings and, candles for their loved ones and stuff like that.
So there's local appeal here. I mean, for, the shop is like, hey, look, this is a local image reflected here.
And we can do, I mean, I can do pretty much anything as long as I have a reference for it. Somebody was thinking of doing a demon in a bottle cover where one of the dogs is staring at himself in the mirror, and I was like, that's kind of dark, but I mean, if that's what you want, like, okay.
Yeah, the old
Um,
Iron Man. He's like got a little bottle of hair of the dog there.
or like a bottle of water or something. I don't know.
Yeah, bunch of empty Alpo cans knocked over on the counter.
That would be hilarious. I don't know if we could use Alpo, but yeah, no, that would work. That would be cool.
You'd have to call it like Alpho.
Yeah.
Or something that everybody, we know exactly what it is, but you can't be sued because you use the different name.
And then the last one I just threw in because I thought it would be a lark, just to be like, yeah, I'll do a signing in your shop. That will pay for travel. That will pay for, my lodging. You'll also get, I believe it comes with you'll get a retailer exclusive. So it's another option for that. But you'll get 50 copies of it.
Oh, wow.
And then all the copies that I am able to lug with me. And of course, if this happens during, the pandemic, I'm asking that, everything, be on the up and up for safety. Yeah. And it would only be in the continental United States. There's no way I could fly up to like Alaska or Canada or anything like that. But I would be willing to do this to promote. And I think it would just be a lot of fun. And you know what? If somebody picks that up, that would be amazing.
It covers every stretch goal.
Yeah, it covers absolutely everything. We're ready to go.
Well, this is very cool. I'm gonna do the thing that always embarrasses me here. I'm going to reload it now and see if anything. Look at that. Okay,
Nice.
$210. This is what we this is where we get to have our shake and bake moment, John.
It's shake and bake, and I help.
All right, you know it.
He's hungry.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's we were glad to have contributed to the growth of the campaign. Of course, it helps to be here on launch date. Hopefully, you've got a bunch of other shows lined up here to jump to.
We do,
a couple of days. And 42%. So thank you everybody in the chat who because that's the rule. If it goes up while you're on our show, we take the credit. It could have just been people on Twitter clicking the link. We don't care. We're taking the credit.
I'm okay with that.
All right. Well, John, thank you so much for bringing this on the show tonight, and for bringing your guest with you. I wish Lucy had come into the room. I'd have brought her up. We have a black pug living with us here. She likes to come in my room and get treats.
Okay. But, is it your dog, or is she just living with you?
No, it's my roommate's dog.
Okay, cool.
But she's always a little quiet. Well, she barks at the UPS guy because he's the mortal enemy. But now that she knows I have carry-out treats in here, bacon and tacos and a little thing. Now, whenever I come home, she's run up to meet me, and she just looks up and she says, "Row, row, row," and her owner's like, "She just howled at you that I love you." I'm like, "Yeah, I've been teaching her to do that."
That's awesome.
So
I actually, one of my buddies gave me some squeaky tacos for the dogs, and this guy loves them. Like, there's two of them, and it comes in like a little tray, and it's so hilarious. Every single time we play with him now, he'll take one of the tacos, and then you squeak the other one, and it's in the tray, and he comes back, and he doesn't pick up the taco. He picks up the tray, and he runs away with the tray with the taco in it, because he's like, "These are my tacos."
Yeah, I'm taking the whole box. All right, John, like I said, thank you for coming on and bringing the project. It looks great, and I'm glad that people are picking up on it. Speaking of the people picking up on it, folks in the chat, thank you so much for showing up tonight. As I say, we don't have a show without you, and thank you for backing this book. If you're watching the replay and you want to get in on this, the link for the book is directly below the video. All you have to do is click on it. You'll be taken to Indiegogo, and you can throw money at this. That's what we're here for, to throw money at campaigns. And as always, everybody, while you were here, we just hope you had a blast. Good night.